Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton, and with me, as always, is the elite engine of the EMOM, Bethany McChesney, and once again, Anthony Peressini, because, well, we got Hyrox coming up, so, we need somebody with a mind.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, it ain't going to be me. I've proven that time and time again. I mean, Bethany has some smart shit every now and again, but I'm just here because I wear the right t-shirts. That's why I'm here. Bethany was not
Right.
dressed for the occasion.
No.
You even have one of these, Beth. I don't think
No,
the
I know, I do. I do. Yeah. I came from work.
poor Beth, real life.
Don't say anything. I'm still at work.
Nice. There was a time where I could do this at work. Not now, though. All right. So what we don't want to talk, we want to talk about relay people bashing other relay people in the head with batons. No,
Oh, I just saw that. Just whack.
Oh, no. Accidentally.
oh, come on. Like,
That was not accidental. The one girl cut her off and she just went
Yeah.
wham.
but even
Yeah.
the cutoff, like that girl stayed in her lane. She stayed in the
Yeah.
outside lane, the one who got whacked. And I saw watch the apology video or whatever, not apology video, the excuse video, and it's like my baton got stuck on her back, and then when it came loose, I lost my balance. And I'm like,
No.
no. Great story, but no.
No, she
No.
cut you off and you hit her in the back of the head. Just
Yeah, yeah.
say it.
Oh man. Yeah, that girl's got a future somewhere else, but it ain't track.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's awesome. No, we're going to talk about Hyrox Glasgow, last major of the season, sort of because there's still the LCQ, and we got Anthony here to tell us all sorts of stuff about it. So here it goes. I will read off who we got here. So we'll start from the bottom and work our way up this time. We always go the other way. We're going to go Thomas Dverdick, Graham Holliday, Jake Dearden, Afon Humphreys, Jonathan Wynn, Bo Willis, Sean Noble, Tim Weissnick,
Einish.
Weinish, I always say Yannick Kapla,
Shapla.
Chapla, Rich Ryan, Paleo Fernandez, James Kelly, Michael Sandbach, Ryan Kent, and Hunter McIntyre. So looking at this right away, is this Sean Noble's first Elite 15 appearance?
Uh, he's actually surprising that he's racing just because you saw what happened to him in Vegas.
Yeah.
I thought he was out 6 months.
Somebody surgically implanted a baseball in his ankle.
Yeah, he had torn ligaments, torn tendons, and now he's back, 5.5 weeks later, racing again. Don't know what his level is going to be at, but I'm very interested in it because he's one of those guys that, like, even in this race, if he was 100%, I would say he would try to lead that first lap. He's going to go out hot. And I still think whatever percentage of it is racing, he's still going to try to go out hot. That's how he races. So,
Yeah, he's an aggressive dude, right? But you've also got tons of aggression. You got Hunter, you got Sandbach, you got James, you got JK, a lot of guys that go at hot. Tim, this does not seem like it's going to be a sit and wait race. And then my question, like hometown advantage, kind of, they're not hometown, but you have Michael Sandbach. Where else are we?
Jake Dearden,
Jake
Graham
Dearden,
Holiday,
Graham Holiday,
Afton
Sean
Humphreys,
Noble, a lot of fairly, they're not local, but well,
I
aside
mean,
from
Graham Holiday.
Graham Holiday
Yeah.
is very local.
Uh, well, that's it, right? Like this is a race of two races. This is a race of the six guys that are already in it, that have their world qualifying spot and are there to, like, stack up, maybe get, a top five, a top three finish, like really experience the race. And then there's the other nine guys who are, all I'm thinking about is I want to be top three of these nine. If you're in that race and uh, Graham Holiday passes you, it doesn't matter to you,
Mhm.
because you're not racing him. Now, what people like Michael Sandbach and Sean Noble and maybe Thomas Turdvik, if those other guys pass him, are they gonna have that like maybe a an ego thing where like, no, I gotta maintain my position, or are they gonna be able to essentially just be like, let him go, like I'm not racing him?
Well, I'd ask you, Beth, as a racer, what are you doing in this race? Are you racing for the win? Are you going out like like let's just say theoretically you say you believe you have a shot at your podium if you're on your best day. Do you keep that in mind if the race goes out too hot and try to hang with it, or do you just run your race? What race are you going to run for something like this?
As someone who hasn't qualified yet,
Not qualified yet.
yeah, I mean, I think really you got to race the people like those nine and to not really get mixed up in because the people that have already qualified, they could take some really big risks here. Like, they could it's not looking like a course where anyone's setting a world record, but for them it is a chance to kind of experiment and they could go out really, really hard, or, they could be playing around with their race strategy. So I think I would focus on being top three of the nine because they're all going to run a smart race based on positioning and not, experimenting with row times or how fast can I do, so I wouldn't probably race the people that have already qualified.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what do you do if you're Michael Sandbach here, second at Worlds, haven't qualified yet? You hometown race. Are you gonna be like hyped up by the crowd and try to go win the thing and then maybe crumble, or are you just gonna play it safe, get your world spot, and like maintain consistency?
Mhm.
Are you asking specifically for that one person? Because that could be a very different
Well, I
answer
mean, he's
no
the
matter the
most
person
notable.
you answer for, ask for. Yeah.
I mean, it's the most notable one, right? Because he's the highest placing person from Worlds on either men or women that hasn't qualified.
Mhm. Yeah.
So by the same token, let's say you are James Kelly. Are you just dropping the hammer on this one and seeing what you can do? Or do you still kind of try to refine your racecraft, or do you test things out? What do you do on this one?
Well, what did JK do in his last race?
Not what he would on wanted to do in the end.
Well, if you watch his last race, he just went out like a bat out of hell.
Yeah.
Like, so he came, you get to the conclusion like maybe that's not how I race. So now you say, okay, well, what's another way I can try to race? What's another way that's different? What's another way? Like, he can go out there and actually just see what he's doing, and he gets to he gets to stare Hunter down on the start line. He gets to measure up against these other guys, and like you said, he's out of the people on the start line, he's not the biggest one.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch him running in a pack with Hunter and Sandbach and uh, you know John Wynn and Ryan Kent, he's gonna look kind of small. He's not small.
Yeah.
You're a big guy, JK. But just saying, like lined up next to him, he's not the same size as all of them. So, um, maybe he just tries a different route this time. Or, you test out like, what if I do this at Worlds? What if I do that at World? What if I put pressure at this point in the race versus, at different points? And then how do you feel coming out of that? I think that's like one of the biggest things is if you're going to be doing different strategies, if you're going to be trying something, or if you're just going to see if like, well, this is the technique that I know works for me, I'm going to do that. If you're doing that stuff, that's why like what we always do is our post race breakdown where you write down everything immediately after the race while you're cooling down and you're thinking about it. Like write down how the race went when it's freshest in your mind, how you felt and everything, so that you have that to look back on the next time you think, oh, I'm going to go sprint the first 1K and do a PR 1K ski and then see how the rest of the race goes. Like, well, let's go ahead and do it. But what do you do after that?
Mhm.
So okay, and Beth, you can answer this. How important is momentum right now? Because if we look at recently, Hunter had a good run in Vegas, didn't win, but had a good run, came second place. Just recently ran a 55, and now he's coming out in here and looking in good shape, ready to go. Do you think that momentum carries over very easily for him, or do you think now racing so recently, maybe that's too soon.
I I don't know. Like I know that traveling around the world like that and that he didn't get to Glasgow until Monday today. Like that's gonna be rough coming from Australia like that, having just raced, all those other factors. Now it's Hunter, you don't know. Like
Mhm.
he's the an amazing athlete. Like he's special. So he's got all that going for them. But at the same time, Hunter hasn't won an elite race since December of 2023. Um, like what this is another elite race. This is probably a good shot for him, but he definitely has some people in here that have beat him that can beat him. So um, it's gonna be a good run, I think. And if you're Hunter, you're looking to win this race because you don't have, your auto qualifier for next year yet because you have to win a major, or we would assume if it's like this year.
That's a solid point. I didn't actually think about that one.
Right.
And
Yeah.
does the LCQ wouldn't count for that either, would it?
No, the LCQ doesn't count for that.
That's a neat one. That's interesting. So he really has to put his chips in this basket, I think. So Beth, that said, do you think that plays to his advantage, or do you think that just puts more pressure on him?
I don't think Hunter really gets thrown by pressure. Like I think that's kind of his bread and butter is putting some pressure on him. And I do think Hunter's probably in a position mentally where he wants to um like take over dominance again and scare people a little bit if he can with the shape that he's coming into. Um so I'm assuming that that's the Hunter that we're going to see at this race.
I would assume that Hunter's probably disappointed that Alex isn't there
Hmm.
because I would say that he just wants to show up at these because this isn't Hunter. Hunter usually in years past gets his qualifier, goes dark until Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hunter's racing this year, a little bit unique, right? Well, I think it's because the the illusion, the persona he puts off, was for so many years it was Hunter's dominant and then there's everybody else. And then, he didn't win Worlds last year. His first race back this year, he takes second. He's he's not in these elite races, he's not the scary boogeyman anymore.
Mhm.
So I think that's what he's trying to establish, and establish it before Worlds. Whereas, he's definitely going to get pushed in this race.
Yeah, I don't usually like to talk just about the one guy that much, especially Hunter, but I would just say so by that stretch, if he doesn't do it this race, how bad does that hit his psyche, and how much does it improve everybody else's psyche if he doesn't win this run
Well,
going into Worlds?
I don't think it takes away from him and like everything he's accomplished in his past. It's just it's when you're at the top, it's the amount of work to get a little bit better is more than the amount of work it takes to get to where you were. Like, so all these guys are just catching up. And so
Yeah,
the overlap of what Hunter can do and what they can do starts to get wider.
yeah, I agree. The field is just there. The field is now what it is.
Mhm.
But, all right, before we go into like who we might think might qualify and who might podium, we'll put the women up here. There we go. All right. Oh my God. See, you know what? I'm gonna let Anthony read this because I'm not, or maybe I should make Beth read it because I'm not even gonna take a stab at that bottom name.
Anya Strohschneider,
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Tanya Strohschneider. Yeah.
Strohschneider.
All right. I get. You want to take him, Beth? You can get the next one. I know that.
Okay, yeah. So we have Maria Fessick from Canada, our Canadian girl here. And then Jade Skillen, Jessica Petro, Camila Massa, Jana Leibenstein, Zara Piergiani, Lucy Proctor, Sika Arning, Kate Davey, Joanna Wheatstrick, Linda Meyer, Viola Oberlander, Vivian Tafudo, and Lauren Weeks.
So we did mention, and we said both somebody like Kate Davey and a Lucy Proctor, and some of these smaller ones with Jade Skill might play too. Um, going out, I mean, obviously your top two people are going to throw Lauren and Joanna right in there as the top two. Who comes to mind right away is that third spot? Because that third spot, I look at quite a few women that can fill that spot, like a lot. And I know Anthony, you play favorites, and totally, I'm okay with that. You play all the favorites you want. But I look at quite a few. I look at a Viola, I look at a Linda, a Kate, even a Zara or Lucy if she has a good day. Like she's on a hometown. So Beth, first off, who jumps out to you as possibly filling that third spot?
The third spot, yeah. Like, I mean, those names that you mentioned, Kate Davies, Fit, Linda, Viola. Um, I mean, I would love to see Vivian feeling good and get up there. Podiuming is probably, I mean, that would be like a day of all days for her, I think, if that happened. But yeah, Zara, um, yeah, and same thing. Like we haven't really seen Camila Massa at her best yet this season, so maybe things get rolling for her too. But the names that you mentioned with Kate, Kate Davies, Zara, Linda, Viola, those are likely third place rounding out the podium.
Yeah, and I mean, like Anthony, if we look at this, and if we take Joanna and Lauren out of the equation, we just take them right out of the, but they didn't go to this race, and all of a sudden, this field is wide open.
Would you say that
I said
Lauren doesn't
we
Lauren
take
doesn't go to this race?
Lauren and Joanna did not go to this race, right? We're
Oh, Kate
hypotheticals.
wins.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, I mean
Kate
Kate
and
and
then
Zara
Zara.
and Maria. Like I'm just gonna say the girls that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
coach, like Vivian, like they're there for a specific reason, all of them. And I just it, it comes to mind, Kate. The reason I said that is just because I know Vegas.
She had a
I don't think she
foot
came out
issue,
and said
didn't
it
she?
all over, but like she had her sled rope when she was in Vegas get stuck on the sled next to her, and it took 15 seconds to unwind it before she could continue. And then she did 135 wall balls. Like there were so many things with Kate in that
Wow.
race, and she ended up sixth place still, and only like a minute 10 behind Joanna, even with all that extra stuff. So um
And she had a foot issue going, didn't she?
her feet cramped
Okay, okay.
in the last like 50 wall balls. But when you do
That way,
135 of them, that's
yeah. Why did she do 135?
so. I mean, just what I think happened is that I think she had a similar issue with the counter, and the judge didn't see it. Like every fourth rep was getting no repped.
Oh,
And but it was like instead of like Joanna's where they all just got no repped and the judge took over, I just think they just rolled with the counter still.
But okay, so with Joanna's, and I didn't see Kate's, but I did see a bit of Joanna's. And I didn't think it was that she was getting no rep. I thought it just stopped counting because when you get no rep, it flashes red, right?
Yeah, so yeah, Joanna is like just stopped counting. And I think the same
And
thing has
that,
happened to Kate's. It just stopped counting because it
yeah,
wasn't flashing red, but
yes,
like every fourth rep wasn't getting counted.
yeah, and that I mean that happened to me in Vegas. That happened to Jeff in Vegas. Like for me, it stopped at like 99. It's like,
Yeah. And so like even if you just go back to the Vegas results and look at it, she did 135 wall balls and say that five of them were no reps, so
mm,
30. So she did 30 extra. And what is 30 wall balls? A minute?
oh yeah, easy.
So if you take a minute, she goes to a 103.12, which puts her 6 seconds behind Linda. And Linda was 13 seconds behind Joanna. So if you add in the 15 seconds for the sled too, like
You're
you're
right.
looking at maybe a different race for her.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, Kate's been on fire. Like she's
Yeah.
looked solid over and over again. And it's always amazing to watch the race with her as soon as the Burpee broad jumps hit, and it's a completely different race.
Oh yeah. No, well, she knows how she's able to race. And I really think just being in her home, not her hometown, but her home country, this is the race where Annabelle and George and James get to come watch her because I don't think Annabelle and George are coming over to Chicago. So this is like something where they get to go see mommy and they're going to be there. And I think that's just extra for her.
yeah, that's really special.
So, and then you got other people that don't have to travel. You're like Zara is completely dialed in. She's ready to go, like more so than I would say she was for Vegas too. And again, an hour flight, you know, not a long travel, easy to get to. Um, and I could, she's been just outside those who qualified. Even in Vegas, she was the second unqualified person, right? So it's like she's just there. In Hong Kong, she was the next unqualified person. In uh, Amsterdam, she was like the third unqualified person. Like it's she's right there.
Mhm.
And so at this race where there's five already qualified, um, realistically, if all five of those women finish in the top eight, then it only rolls down to eighth. Zara can finish there. And on this field, it's very similar. Like there's 10 women that are not qualified. You got to place top three. Um, and then I don't know. Obviously, I think the Canadian Maria finally gets her shot. She was the first one out for Hong Kong. She was the first one out for Vegas. Now she's like, she's been ready, been waiting for her opportunity, and now she's getting it. And I just think she's there to take advantage of it. Um, and then, and then you have Vivian, who, similar to like on the men's side, she's the highest placing person from Worlds not yet qualified.
So,
And she did have, an issue earlier in the year, but now it's like, okay, here's the spot. I don't think she wants to travel back over the Atlantic Ocean to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Uh,
there's two women here who jump out to me, and my big question is how is their health and how are they doing? And that is Vivian and Viola, because healthy Vivian and Viola are dangerous, very, very dangerous. So have we heard anything about their health? I mean, you might know a bit about Vivian's. I haven't heard anything about Viola, and so I'm assuming that she's actually doing better right now.
that before Vegas, Viola was pretty sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but she went there anyway, tried to gut it out, and then ended up pulling out of the race. And then Vivian, obviously, she's definitely been tapering back into more running and more work, but she's getting up there. So I think she'll be okay for it. Um,
It can't be worse than she was at Vegas. I mean, the first time I saw her at Vegas, she was like, just stay back
I
10
I
to
think. Oh yeah, and she was sick. Like when we saw Vivian in Las Vegas as well, she was
yeah,
very sick, and she's like, "Don't come near me.
yeah.
I don't want to get you sick." We all got sick anyway. Probably not from her. Don't want to put that on her. But it was like, "Yeah, don't come around me." So I think without those technically handicaps, they're coming into this race really ready. And those, I mean, none of these women are, but if you're people outside of this race looking to go to the LCQ, you don't want to see Vivian. You don't want to see Viola on that start
So
line there. You don't want to see Zara. You don't want to see Maria. Like, you don't want to see some of these women on the start line at that LCQ because it's almost like, oh crap, there goes a spot. There's only three.
Yeah.
what about Camilla Massa? Camilla is someone that used to be one of the ones, and I shouldn't say used to be, but just not too long ago was a podium favorite at times. And now she doesn't seem to be able to capture that same kind of, I don't want to call it power or that same aura. She now she's kind of getting behind. Is there something going on there? Is it just the field has gotten that much better? Why are we not seeing the Camilla that we saw before?
Uh, I
I
mean, if
think
you're asking me,
I think she had a pretty significant injury that
well,
she
she had that gut issue, right, for a little while. Um, I don't know if that's still happening. She did, what was it last year? She broke her hand, right? Did she have
Yeah.
another injury this year? I can't remember.
I thought she did. I thought she had an injury and then her gut issue and there was just a bunch of things that was kind of keeping her away from really training properly.
Is it a
Yeah.
case where maybe just she hasn't been able to train right and this maybe just hasn't been her year?
Yeah, I think it's probably, the perfect storm of a couple of those things that you talked about. Um, and then the question becomes, like you were saying, Bethany, it's not a good race for someone with a long stride.
Hmm.
Camilla is probably the tallest athlete in the field, maybe her and Joanna.
Yeah.
So the how does that work for her?
Yeah.
All right. I want to go through, and like we said, we want to pick our top three, and yes, we're going to play favorites because that's what we do. But I'm also probably more interested in who we think the three qualifying spots are. So if we start with the women, and I'll even go first because I got Lauren, then Joanna, and then I actually do have Kate in third. Yeah, Lauren, Joanna, Kate. Those are my three for the podium.
I
And
would have said the same thing.
yeah, I think we're probably all going to be on that path, and that's okay. My three that I think that are going to get in, and this is tough, but I think we're going to see Viola get in because I think she is healthier on this one, and I think this is short travel for her, and I know it's short travel for a lot of them, but I think she'll be one of the ones that gets in. Um, I am going to pull and think that Maria can get it done, and then for that third one, oh yeah, wow, it's I'm gonna play in. This isn't a homer one. This is just I'm putting Vivian in there just because I really like Vivian. And I think she can. And I think Vivian has proven to, she came fourth or third at Worlds. She is of all these people, other than Lauren, she has the highest, one of the highest credentials. So I think she's got one of the highest top end, and I think she'll be back in it and so much better than she was in Vegas. And I think she'll want to make up for Vegas. And obviously that was not her day. So yeah, that's who I got. I got Vivian, Viola, and Maria. Beth, you want to do yours?
Yeah, so I picked the same podium. Yeah, I'm gonna say Viola also, and Zara in there as well. And then I'm saying Vivian. I'm putting that out there. Maybe it's a fan favorite, but we're gonna put the energy out there. Vivian's gonna take a spot too.
So Zara, Vivian, and Viola.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony. What hybrid engine athletes are going to qualify?
I got four hybrid engine athletes
Yeah.
unqualified.
Okay.
So
Well, but that means you got to leave one out then. That's
no, I'm not going to leave them out. I'm going to say
okay.
somebody, one of them is going to go to the LCQ. I don't know who, but I definitely think we could go 3 for 3 on getting the qualifying spots. And yeah, Zara, Maria, Vivian, and Jade. I think some combination of those four, three of them get the spots.
Yeah. I know. I think even
Uh,
though we are playing favorites, you
and
can't argue that those are solid picks. Well,
so one thing that I did notice is that like every major so far on the women's side,
yep.
a new face has gotten a qualifying spot. Somebody that didn't qualify for Worlds last year. In Amsterdam, it was Joanna. In Hong Kong, it was Ida. In Vegas, it was Lucy. So, of the women who are not already qualified that didn't make Worlds last year, right? You're looking at Seka Arning, uh,
Jade.
Okay.
Jade, Jess Petro, and Tanya Strohschneider. Tanya's very interesting because she's a triathlete. I think triathletes do super well in this sport, and she's coming over. She's had some good like momentum too. So the question is, just curious, do you think there's going to be another new female athlete that qualifies?
Well, I've said this one I don't, but I see your thinking there, and that's an interesting thought process. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so for this one. Maybe on the LCQ, but I think this one it'll be one of
I
the
think this one
the
is gonna
three
take
majors.
so much race strategy that I think it's gonna go to experience.
Yeah. And just not just that, but exactly like Bethany just said. I just think I said really long ago at the beginning of the year that I thought there'd be three new females, like for
Mhm.
some reason, just three. And there's already three, so no more. No.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, no, that said, I think there's a good shot for a lot of those women. I just yeah, there's four on our team. I think three of them get the spots, and I'd like to see more than just Lauren and Kate on the podium, right? So have them up there fighting for those spots. And I really, it just as a side note, because of that whole wall ball thing in Vegas, Kate since Vegas has gone off, not off the programming that we've given her, but she will add things to the program I give her. She's done over 3,700 wall balls herself, just
Ew.
in the last like 6 weeks because she like just gets that in her head. She wants to hit those. So
It's gonna become the new Maria Miriam von Rohr.
yeah, I mean she's locked in. I get videos like 5, 6 times a week of her doing wall balls. She'll send them and be like, "Today I did this. Today I did that." Just smile and laugh about it. She's really locked in for it though.
Something we didn't say about the women that actually I'd thought of earlier. With Joanna and being so young, is it possible that maybe she gets a little, I don't want to say loses it mentally, but maybe doesn't get the full mental game that she needs to do as well in this race as she can because she's thinking about getting back to North America to run in Houston in the doubles with Tia.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Houston too, because
Yeah,
I don't
we'll
know.
talk. Yeah, go
Does
for it
it
right now. We just roll. We'll go back to the men
all
after.
right. We'll go back to the men after. I got Elite 15 men's stuff we can talk about for doubles too
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Houston. You know all the teams that are gonna be in Houston though, right?
I
Like,
don't know all of them, but I know that there's some insane teams. And I've said from day one when they announced this that Hyrox is missing the boat, not streaming this thing.
yeah, well, so women's doubles world record holders, Lauren and Lauren, are
Mhm.
gonna go to Houston. They're flying out 6 a.m. on Thursday from Glasgow to Houston. On the same flight as JK, Jake, and Joanna,
Yeah.
Lauren. So Lauren and Lauren, you got Tia and Joanna, um, Katie Simonson and Chris Rogowski,
Interesting.
um, and then there was another team. Ooh, I think Katie Duke's on a team.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. Because I know Grayson is running in the men's.
Yeah, and then the men, there's 4 or 5 teams and only 3 spots, so that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, because you've got JK and Jake. You've
Yeah.
got Dylan and oh my God,
Yeah,
who's the
Marcus and Dawson, Dylan and his partner, Colin and
Grayson?
Grayson, and then Anthony and Mark. We might be like 10th place. We're gonna manage expectations on this.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. But and
Sub 60.
those are just the teams that we know off the top of our head.
Yeah, because I haven't seen a list yet. Actually, I'll go check and see if it's out yet while we talk.
Yeah, so I mean, but like I said, as soon as they announced this, I was like, this is going to be awesome. And here's the one thing I'm going to say, just to back up things that I was saying. Isn't it kind of cool, all these teams jumping in on this open race format, not having to qualify for this race for where they can race for a chance for Worlds?
Yeah, but they're not streaming it, Dave.
I
That's
know,
that's
but
what you're
doesn't
giving up.
matter.
You're
Doesn't
giving
matter.
up the stream. You're giving up the
Nah,
stream to
nah.
have it be open.
You could do it just the same way, and you could stream this, and it would work just fine. It would be
It
absolutely
would be a
fantastic.
mess.
Would not. Never. Get Bethany out there rabbiting the thing. It'd be fantastic.
oh, just maybe give me some rollerblades or something next time.
But I'm anyway, so yeah, lots of people are going over. So I wondered, like, anyway, the question was, can that affect their race there if if that's just another thing on the mind, especially of
I
a young racer. Like I don't think of it, that's why I don't think of it for somebody like Lauren who's raced so much or JK or any of these people who have so many repetitions under their belt. But she's young, she's traveling a lot. Can that affect
I
her?
mean, they might maybe if they're like far out of a place and like something's coming up and she would have to put in a big surge at the end and it's like is it worth it? I'm gonna be racing in soon. Like that's the only way I could think of it coming up. They're not thinking of that. They get on the line, it's I'm racing, it's everything here. Like you don't save anything for the next race. You worry about it after the race you're in. That's when you start recovering and say, okay, what do I have left for this next one after I'm done with this one? But I put all I have into this one. You know, I think what's most exciting here is like, so a lot of the women that I coach, right? Like we haven't done specific builds for a high rocks race. It's all general fitness so far. Um, until you get to like this race where it's the last it's the penultimate qualifier,
Mhm.
right? And you don't want to have to put all your eggs into the last chance qualifier basket. So you're looking at it and it's like, okay, so we have to do a build for this race. So now you're looking at like Maria and Zara and Jade and Vivian. Like okay, we had to get more specific. We had to do this. And it's kind of like this was almost the build for Worlds to get to Worlds. Everybody else, like so far, they've been able to qualify for Worlds without having to shoot that shot. And so they still have that going into Worlds. And so do these women too. They're going to go out there, they're going to try to perform, but they're like more dialed into the race now. And then they'll reset and then go do a similar thing for Worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I was just seeing what you thought.
I'm just it's exciting that we're getting this week. I know it's a weird Wednesday race, but it kind of works out because it lets us have, all right, we got all this on Wednesday. All right, now on Saturday we have this doubles. And yeah, I get to go to the doubles one, so I'm excited about that.
Well, there you go. Hopefully Anthony will con someone into streaming it. Because I know you can't stream it while your people are racing.
Well, I'm racing.
Oh yeah, you're racing
People are
too.
racing.
Right,
I'm
right.
racing.
Take a GoPro.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take care of the men here. Same deal. We've got our podiums, and then we've got our three that we think are going to make it. And just for a reminder, Anthony, who is already qualified?
So already qualified, you got Hunter McIntyre, James Kelly, Paleo Fernandez, uh, Menendez Fernandez, Tim Vinish, Bo Wills, and Graham Holiday.
All right, so that leaves quite a few people who were in last year's Worlds to still qualify.
Well, on the men's side, nobody new has qualified.
Yeah,
So everybody that's already in was qualified last year.
yeah. So I guess I'll start again, and and you'll be very happy here. I have JK coming first because I think JK wants to beat Hunter. I think that means a lot to him. I am just going on that. And then I do believe Hunter will come second. And then in the third place, I think it is difficult because that's a spot where everybody, based on whatever you might want to just throw Michael Sandbach in there nice and easy, but we don't know what Michael Sandbach we're going to get. So I always am very leery about picking him. And I think on this one, I actually think in third place, and I never pick him to podium, is I think you might get Tim Vinage.
So I look at Tim as like the European Dylan, right? Great on home soil, doesn't travel to
Yeah.
America well. So
Yeah.
that's a great pick. I would assume Tim's going to do really well in a European race.
Yeah. And then it comes down to the three who I think are going to make it. And that's where it is hard. So I do think that coming in there, I think Sandy will find a way to place well enough to get in. Um, then it's the question is, can the American boys pull it off? Can Rich Ryan and Ryan Kent get in? I don't know. There's a lot out there, but I think Rich Ryan cashes in here. And I do think that Ryan Kent will have a better race this time than he did in Vegas. He will be competitive, but I think he might have to wait for the LCQ. And I think you might see Jonathan Wynn pull it off. And Sean Noble is another guy that has potential, but I think I agree with Anthony. I don't think he's healthy enough yet to outlast this field. All right. Beth, you want to give her a shot?
Oh, yeah, I find the men are just so much more difficult. I find. I think Hunter's gonna win it. I think he's coming out here to establish his dominance, to put that in the heads of his competitors that Hunter's still here. Um, so I think it'll be Hunter, um, Sandbach, and James Kelly. I think there's just too much on the line here for Sandbach, and I think, but again, he's one of those people. It's such a gamble, but yeah, I'm gonna put him there. So Michael, who then that will be his qualifying position, and JK.
You got to pick people, the three who will qualify.
So our qualifying, so we got Sandbach, and then I'm gonna say Rich Ryan, and then this third one is just again, it's up in the air for me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a hard one.
yeah, it could be, it could be anyone's day here. Like, I'd love to see Jonathan Wynn get in there. I love the over 40s. Yay.
Well, I would,
Um,
yeah.
what's that?
Like I picked Win, but I would love to see Kent get in just because of what he's gone through and how tough of time he's going. Now he's got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
And, I'd love to see the guy have some good stuff go on. But I just have this feeling that it's just, this is a time to get better. And then
I
LCQ
think
takes it.
yeah, and I mean, we know Kent is capable. It's just he has to be willing to suffer. And I think that for him, that element of finding that that place where he can go in his head, where he can embrace the suffering that was kind of lost. If that's there for him, then he's completely capable. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to see him take that spot. I don't know yet if he's there and if he's kind of been working on that.
Yeah. And I think in Vegas, he got it back where he finished. In this one, I think he gets it back where he fights. And then the next
Yeah.
one, I think he qualifies.
Yeah.
That's just me. And God, because I liked Ryan so much, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
All right, Anthony, how much is JK going to win by?
I've played this race a lot in my head, just talking to people and stuff, and um, I think I'm just different, looking at it differently than you guys. I don't know. I've seen Hunter. He traveled backwards around the world to Australia. He raced twice in Australia. He's not getting to Glasgow till right now. He's got 48 hours till the race. Not even 48 hours now till the race. Like, um, I think looking at this race, I see Sean Noble and Michael Sandbach putting pressure on Hunter early, maybe getting him to overwork a little. And I think it's the people that don't make mistakes with the race and people who are smart about their strategy are actually the ones that are going to come out. So I see it being um, the podium, JK, Bo Wills, Tim Vinish, and Hunter just falls off because he gets pushed early and he's got a lot of travel in him. He's got other races. That's a hard ask. I know he's doing well, but that's a hard ask of the body at this point. Uh, he's not a young guy either. I think he's
No,
the same
no.
age as me. He's 36,
Yeah.
Um, and as far as who qualifies, as much as it would be awesome to see Rich get it, Americans have not traveled to Europe well historically, except for Hunter. And I actually think just watching these guys race before, I think Jake Dearden and John Wynn get two of the spots. And that third spot, I think it goes down to Thomas Turdvik.
Really?
Um, yeah, man, the guy shows up. His last race was a 56. Um, so I would put, yeah, I'd say Dearden, Wynn, and Turdvik,
Mm.
just based on who's there to run really really well. You don't know what it's going to be like, but I'd see, I wouldn't be surprised to see those three guys qualify, and then um, one mistake in this race, like already you're looking at what was it, Amsterdam, where it was third through 12th were like 40 seconds apart or something, or less than a minute apart. And this is definitely a race where you can make a mistake here with how many opportunities there are to make a mistake in this race and this course. Somebody's going to make a mistake, somebody that you would think would normally not. So on the men's side, yeah, I'd say, yeah, let's give it to Dearden, Wynn, and Turdvik.
There you go. And like you said, this could be very close, and it could come down to something even to the point of out of their control, like
It could be
like a
whose
rope
wall ball counter is working properly.
like a rope
Like,
popping off the sled. By the way,
it, it-
locking carabiners, Hyrox, they're spring loaded, they're easy. This will never happen again. I saw it happen 4 times in Vegas.
yeah.
Ropes.
Well, you saw Harry Thompson's sled did the same thing as Kate's, where the back rope got wrapped around the sled next to it, and they couldn't pull it,
Yeah,
and they had to wait for somebody to go unwrap it.
yeah, yeah.
Or what
Um,
race was it that Dylan's plates fell off?
yeah, like you've seen that before, where they're like
Yeah.
trying to hold the plates on. So I would just, be careful. I don't think the race is going to go exactly how uh to chalk, and I could definitely see people moving up and down. Um, but I think JK becomes the first man to win two majors in a season.
Oh. I'm with you on that. I think JK because I think like I said, I think it means something to JK to beat Hunter. I think it means something to JK
It does.
to deny Hunter that spot for next year, that auto qual. I think those things are important to some of these guys.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I mean, I don't know if people haven't talked about it. Bo's running has gotten so good. Um, I don't think it was a mistake in Vegas what happened. Everybody
no,
knows how strong he is on the back half, and he's just improved running. Like he was passing guys on the runs in Vegas, and now it's short travel for him, So I think you're looking at even a better race for Bo.
wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. All right. Anything
And
else?
speaking of Bo, did you guys do the CrossFit Open workout? Whether you registered or not, did you do it?
I did the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
No.
Bo got 301 reps on that.
Whoa.
That's good.
I think I was like 200.
Yeah. Well, in terms of like people from Hyrox, Alondra got 303.
Yeah, I know that. I know Laundry did.
Miriam obviously blew
Yeah,
it out of the
Miriam
water.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miriam did it 3 times and would have won the Open with all three of her scores. Then
She
Lauren got 314.
Mhm.
14. That's like when we saw that workout come up, like Miriam's just gonna eat this up. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's completely her
I
work.
I think the second workout too. I think she's going to eat up. I think she goes very close to 4 minutes.
Well, I think she'll win the Open again, but the question is, will she get past semifinals?
Well, so she's very good at virtual competition, like in her home gym. There's 10 qualifying spots out of the virtual in affiliate semifinal.
Yeah.
So she could out of that.
She's
Yeah.
following the path of Jeffrey Adler.
Yeah.
Because Adler used to be the virtual guy too.
Yeah. So she's definitely got a shot. Yeah, men's race should be good. The Elite 15 men's race. Did we already say all the teams that are going to be there?
So we said some of them, unless some of the other ones. But I think that one to pick three out of that, I think it's just gonna be so exciting. It's gonna be so fast. It's gonna be so hectic, and you might have guys that just come out and is make a better team where the total is better than the sum is better than the total of the individual parts kind of thing, where they just work really well together.
Yeah.
Well, you get a couple really good runners who are capable on the stations and they have really good strategy on the stations and can just like smash the running. And you could have some people that we don't know.
Yeah, if you get really good interval guys, like people that can run fast intervals on short rest, this is the race for them, right? Like I would say, look, Grayson and Colin are going to be pretty good at it. I think what holds them back is I don't know if they're as fast as Jake and JK or as Dylan and his partner. I don't know. Somebody sent me who Dylan's partner is, but I don't know his name and I don't know how fast he is. So, but I imagine like if he can keep up with Dylan, then
Yeah, I can't remember his name. He's reasonably fast, so I did look up his stats and stuff. He's reasonably fast. Um,
even if even if the only thing that guy does is run with Dylan
yeah,
and not touch any of the stations and Dylan has a good race, then you're looking at a 55, 56, right?
And
So
just get Dylan a little breaks here and there.
yeah, if he just gives Dylan like a little break here and there on the stations where Dylan ends up doing, you know, 5, 6 of the stations instead of the whole thing, then that could take another minute off. So you're looking at 54. I think in the men's race though, it could be faster than that. That's required to qualify.
if you put a partner with Dylan who can run with him and do the wall balls unbroken,
Oh yeah.
that you're yeah, it's a whole different realm. Because I
Well,
mean,
like
there's one station that slows Dylan down. That's it.
yeah, you're gonna give a guy to Dylan that can feasibly give him a short rest on the ergs that's maybe 30 seconds to a minute long somewhere, maybe multiple times on the ski erg, right? And so Dylan can row and ski a harder pace now,
Yeah.
as well as his partner can. And then if they just maintain the same runs, if the guy's not as fast as Dylan, Dylan's getting even more rest, so he can go harder on the stations. So that's like the big thing you're looking at is are they going to be compatible together? And if you look at the team of like Jake and JK, they obviously run super well together, and they both can do all the stations. So if they just split the stations in a way that gives them both a break, and they keep pressure on their runs, they could go 51, like 52, like they can fly through this thing. Um, so I'm excited to be on the course with them. I told JK maybe I'll try to lead him out of the sleds and just wreck our whole race and just be like, all right, beat us off the sleds. We'll see what happens.
And then, like you said, then for the women's side, that for me, I like the Laurens against Tia and Joanna. Can Tia keep up with Joanna?
No, I think Joanna's going to have to run at Tia's speed.
Yeah.
But when you do that, it's like, well, that means that Joanna is going to be fresher for the stations, but does that matter when you have Tia as a partner, right? So
Mhm.
it's like, where's the line that you're going to draw for Tia to be running and being able to do some of the stations? Do you make it like Tia just run as fast as you can, Joanna do all the stations and like recover basically on the runs? Or do you have it where they still split the stations a little? And now you have, the CrossFit Games fittest on earth 7 times, most successful athlete as your partner, you're going to give her work.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're going to take her and make her sit out the station so she can keep up with you on the run. Kind of defeats the purpose of having her as a partner.
Exactly. So like you're gonna give her work. And now where you give her that work is different. But like even if I think that at this point, even if Joanna is dead from super hard pushing on the stations, she'd be able to run at the same pace that Tia could like run her heart out at. So um it's that give and take. But
Yeah,
we don't I mean you don't know, right? Where they're gonna be. And then I mean, even the other women teams, like I don't know who Katie Duke's partner is going to be, but
I'm sure it's going to be someone pretty solid.
yeah, I mean, it's just
It's
shaping
not
up
Michelle
that there's
Navarro, is it?
what
Is it Michelle Navarro?
is it? Maybe.
Oh no. It
Michelle
could
would
be.
be a solid partner though. Michelle can haul, like she can run.
Yeah. Is like Katie Fossbender going or um
That'd be another good one.
and
Oh yeah.
it's like you look at the women that run fast and maybe are capable of the stations, but like if they team up together, they're able to just like push. Like there's gonna be some good like I would think people who are super good at DECA, I think are great candidates for the doubles.
That's where you say that Kat Fossbender, she would be a
Yeah.
very good doubles partner.
Yeah. And then Katie Simonson and Chris Rogloski, they're gonna be good.
That's interesting because I'd expected to see Katie and Maria team up, but I think Katie and Chris will be just as fun.
Well, Maria did get asked by someone. I don't know if she shared it yet, but they're up in the air because the next qualifiers for the Elite 15 doubles, they need to get past Glasgow first because Paris and Miami, I think, are the weekend before the LCQ, and London's the weekend after. So,
Mhm.
That's tough. That's tough. Well, hopefully
yeah.
for Maria's sake, she won't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah, and that's like the whole thing is get it here, get it in Glasgow, get your qualifier. You don't have to worry about traveling again. You can just be like, okay, let's go do doubles.
Yeah.
I think that's good for tonight. Anthony, if anyone wants to get like super fit and be in the Elite 15, how do they find you?
So you guys can find me at the Hybrid Engine on Instagram. You could also find us at the Hybrid Engine on YouTube. Um, we coach, we have daily programming, uh, great community in the chats and everything. I love watching the chats come through and seeing our members. And we have members that are doctors and members that are physical therapists and members that are other coaches. And they will answer questions and like we'll come in and talk as well. We try to be as active as possible on that. And it's cool to get like the elite athletes, um, Vivian and Zara and Kate, they'll chime in. Lauren Griffith, they'll chime in as well on different things that are asked in the community chats. So that's always a neat perspective to have. But the daily programming, we have the Pro Track and the Daily Dose, as well as something to look out for. Is this podcast coming out tomorrow?
Sure, if you want.
Okay. Well, I didn't know whenever. It doesn't matter.
It'll be either
We'll just save
tomorrow
it.
night or
Watch
Wednesday.
watch Lauren Weeks, my wife. Watch her Instagram for her announcement too. So,
That's even
um,
better.
yeah, we'll watch her at Lauren_E_Weeks on Instagram.
All right. And then Beth, before you wind us out, why don't you tell people about your ultra?
Yeah, so we're gonna host a an ultra in our hometown here, Strathroy, and it's the format is 6 hours, as many laps as you can. The lap is a 2.5K loop. You can have you if you don't want to do it solo, you can do a team of 3 people, and you could do it relay format. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be like a big community event too, and we're gonna have some activities for kids. We're gonna do like a toddler race like 200 meters. We're going to have a youth race of 2.5K. So prizes for fastest first lap, prizes for over 30K, over 50K, and for this. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
How far do you
Really?
expect people to go in 6 hours?
So we did a 6 hour race like this in the fall, and so Jeff did 50K, and and I think the winner was around 57 or 58K. So
Almost 10K an hour.
yeah, yeah. 8 to 10K an hour would have been like the top group. But yeah, we had a bunch of clients get like around 40, which is pretty awesome for, your gym goer
A lot of people
relative.
that'd be further than they've ever run.
Yeah, we're like doubled further than they ever run, which was just really cool. So, but just the atmosphere of the ultra where you get to run a loop, take a break, eat, like just the kind of casual mentality of it, people put in some pretty big mileage. So it was really fun, and it was such a good experience for so many. So yeah, we're gonna host one in Strathroy. So it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be right in the center of the town, and then you run into the conservation area and then come back. So yeah,
When is that?
June 22nd. After the weekend after Hyrox
The
World.
weekend after Chicago.
Yeah. So people can just have some fun and
Stop in Chicago on the way and then just keep going.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so how do people like sign up for it, Beth? Because
So we don't have the sign up yet. I still have to meet with the Conservation Authority. I have the cart ahead of the horse, but I'm going to convince them that it's totally fine. It's going to be fine. So we don't have the registration up. I still have to meet with the Conservation Authority, but I have a town councilor on my race committee, so we're going to be fine. But as soon as I get the registration up, I will be posting it, and it'll probably be through fitfarmstrathroy.com.
awesome. So go race, run, have fun, good
Mhm.
community, and
Yeah.
I'll take us out today, Beth. And so for everybody else, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to do us a favor, tell other people. Tell other people we're here. We have great guests like Anthony. The people in the know listen here because Bethany knows what she's talking about. Great guests like Anthony, and I know how to hit the record button. So everybody, take care.
Thanks, guys.